Hey, so I don't usually make videos, but this is something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, and it's something that's hard to talk about because I don't personally have enough information or knowledge to answer the questions that I have, but the biggest question is, what is the problem with Overwatch right now? A lot of people aren't enjoying the game. I myself am not enjoying the game. I'm a tank player primarily, and for the past couple weeks, I have refused to play tank. It is not fun. I have an account separate from my main that I only play DPS. I don't have any time on anything else except for DPS because that is honestly the only fun role. You don't want that in a game like this where there's 30 something different characters. You can't have that. And the problem lies in we don't know how to fix it. The game is in a spot where it is basically unfixable, right? Every couple months, you have one meta that has 6 to 8 different characters or heroes that you have to play. Goats had 6 different heroes only, maybe a couple more, maybe Sombra, maybe Mei, maybe Winston, but primarily it was the generic Rhine, Brig, whatever, generic goats. Uh, Roadhog and Orisa became a hard meta for a little bit. That Halt Hook, May Reaper, that became a really strong meta. And we just got through Double Shield. And while Double Shield isn't completely dead, it's still out there. It's not as prominent as it was. But my point lies in we can't have 1 or 2 different metas every year that you have to play. You can't have a couple patches every year that barely change the game or drastically change the game. You'll have a patch that comes out, changes a couple heroes, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but overall nothing changes. Or you'll have a patch that comes through and forces something to change. Like after Goats 222 came in, it forced a new meta. And after Sigma came out, it forced this double shield meta. I don't think that's good for the game. In a game with 30 something characters, you shouldn't only be able to play a handful of them. I strongly believe that you should at least be able to play well over 2/3 of the characters in the game and have a good time. If you're playing Soldier, you're not gonna have any fun because you're just shooting shields. If you're playing Orisa, even though she is meta, you're still just gonna want to shoot your brains out because you're just sitting there doing nothing. Like, Orisa is so boring, and that needs to change. You can't have these heroes that are must picks, but are also not fun. It's not saying all heroes that are meta aren't fun. Doomfist, he's a fun hero to play. Lucio, he's a fun hero to play. But you just can't have metas that are must picks. There needs to be variety in the game. And I think that's what they tried to do with this last patch. They tried to buff some of the things, they tried to nerf some of the things, and they didn't do it to the point where they hard nerfed something or hard buffed something to where it was either completely useless or a must pick. They did it in a good way in which the game now has variety. If you want to play Double Shield right now, you can. If you want to play Dive right now, you can. You can play more heroes. That's incredible. They did something right for once, but there's still so many things wrong. Like, multiple heroes in this game are so often complained about, but nothing has changed. Like Moira, she's incredibly strong. And in this last patch, all they did to her was nerf her self-healing. And while that is a significant nerf, and they did nerf it a lot, it still doesn't change the fact that Moira is incredibly dominant in the meta, right? Moira can bust out tens of thousands of healing and still have gold elims. It's not healthy for one character to be that strong. Like when Brig came out, you pretty much had to play Brig for a full year before they even remotely changed her. Um, that's just ridiculous. And I get it. When a hero comes out, Blizzard's not perfect at this. It's either going to be way too strong or way too weak. And that's fine for when something first comes out, because you have to see what happens. Blizzard can't predict the future. But the problem lies in it takes too long to change these heroes. Or it takes too long for something to happen. Brig didn't get significantly nerfed, or Brig didn't significantly fall out of the meta until 222 was forced over a year later after she was added. That's ridiculous. And even now, she hasn't gotten nearly any playtime since 222 was forced. I think it's good to have a break from Brig, because fuck Brig, but still, the fact that it took over a year to get one character out of the meta is absolutely unacceptable on Blizzard's part. You cannot make one hero way too strong. For the longest time, Reaper was never played in the pro scene because the pros knew how to deal with him. And now, he's always played. He's got a 100% pick rate. It's the things that Blizzard does that they don't realize they're doing, I think. They don't know how to fix their game. They don't know how to patch the game. And that is just hurting the community. So many people are quitting. So many people are disencouraged or unencouraged to play, whatever the word is. My point stands in it's not fun. And if you're not having fun playing a video game, you're not going to want to play it. You're going to quit, you're going to uninstall, or if you don't uninstall it, you'll forget about it, and you'll just leave it there, and you won't play it. And for a AAA developer like Blizzard to have a game that people are simply forgetting about or quitting is embarrassing, frankly. But as a community, all we've done for the longest time is complain. And I know there are a good handful of people out there that have great ideas and have a vision for the game. But Blizzard doesn't listen to the community, or at least as much as they should. The only time Blizzard listens to the community is when it's been 6 months of outrage about the current meta. And that's just not enough. I've got a personal opinion of what should be done, and that is every time a patch comes through, it completely changes the game in a way where whatever you were doing in the last patch, can't do it anymore, you have to play what's in this patch. And I think, in my opinion, what should be changed is they should not make such drastic changes in these patches. Like I already spoke about with this most recent patch, they shifted a couple heroes minorly. They didn't majorly change one hero. And it's introduced way more variety into your average ladder games. And one way that Blizzard could frequently, maybe not frequently, but ensure variety would be to add multiple heroes into the game at the same time. Instead of dropping one hero every 4 months, they should introduce 2 or 3 or more different characters at the same time in one patch. And I know it's difficult for them to come up with these new heroes and make them good enough for the game, but I think it would be acceptable if maybe even once a year add multiple heroes at the same time, because that would encourage variety. That would encourage people to try something new. When they added Hammond, people played him for a couple weeks, but then he just fell out of existence. Hammond has never had a meta. He's basically been a useless addition to the game, and while there are some really good players at him, he's just not good enough. When they added Brig, she was a must pick. People were forced to play her. And that introduces no variety in the game. When you have one hero that has to be played, your games are boring. So if they added multiple heroes at the same time, that would encourage people to try these new things, experiment with these new things. Everyone knows when a hero comes out, the first couple weeks is honestly chaos. No one knows what to play, no one knows what to do, And then a month later, we figure out what the meta is, the pros play the meta, we play the meta, and it has to be that. After Sigma came out, I heard a lot of people saying, oh, Sigma not gonna drastically change the meta. What are we in now? Double shield. So no one ever knows what exactly is going to change when a hero is added. But I think that's good. We're not supposed to know, right? We can't predict what's gonna happen because that just means that the game has no variety. If we know what's gonna happen, then why even bother adding these different heroes? Or if we know they're not gonna make a change, like Hammond, why even bother adding them? If we added multiple heroes at the same time, that would introduce so much new content into the game at the same time, it would change the game completely. Perfect example would be, I'm gonna name a game that's nothing like this game, but it has major updates once or twice a year, and that game is Destiny, and Destiny 2. They came out with these yearly DLC that drastically changed the game. The game you played a year ago is not the same as the game you played now. And Overwatch, they could try that. They could add a couple heroes and change a couple heroes in one huge patch. Maybe in September of every year, they added 3 heroes and nerfed and buffed a couple things, and maybe shifted or edited the kit of one hero. That would change the game in such a healthy way, frequently enough, to where there would be variety. We wouldn't be stuck in this rut where everyone's complaining about the meta, and no one wants to play the game. And I know it's going to be difficult for Blizzard to fix what they've done with this game. It's definitely not an easy fix, trying to introduce more ways to play the game, but I think Blizzard definitely needs to listen to their community more, and listen to the community ideas, or have a community day where they bring important, like, prominent figures in the community to go to the Blizzard office or the Blizzard HQ and talk about these ideas with the developers and seriously have a conversation about what needs to be done, because no one knows more what needs to be done, or knows more about what needs to be done, than the people that play it for hours every day, like the streamers and the pros. They need to listen to these people, and a lot of pros have just stopped talking about it because they aren't getting listened to. So overall, what needs to be done is huge changes. And I know that you could argue that there is a huge change every 4 months when they update or when they put out a new patch. You know, we go from goats to double shield. That's a huge change. It is, but it's not the change we need. We could have huge changes that are bad, and that's what we've had for the past year. We've had huge changes that just aren't good. No one likes this game anymore. We need huge changes that are good. We need more content. Honestly, I think that's what we need. There simply isn't enough in the game for us to have variety. There are 30-something different characters, but 27 of those aren't good. Or, you know, there's not enough to be good. If we added a lot more into the game for every patch, that would introduce way more ways to play, way more variety into our games. That's what Overwatch needs, more content. But Blizzard's never gonna do that. Blizzard's never gonna introduce 3 heroes at the same time. Blizzard's never gonna completely rework the kit of 3 different heroes in one patch. And I think that's something that is kind of disappointing, honestly, because we already know what's gonna happen in the next patch. They're gonna change a couple things, and they're gonna nerf a couple things, buff a couple things, add a hero, and we're gonna be stuck in one meta for 4 months until the next patch. And it's gonna be a cycle. Every 4 months when they release a new patch, or a new major patch, we're gonna be stuck in one terrible meta that nobody likes, that everyone complains about, until the next 4 months rolls around. And I'm getting sick of it, frankly. I'm a tank player, and I refuse to play tank because Orisa is so boring. So boring. That's not good for the game. It's just not. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm I'm kind of just ranting at this point, and just kind of blabbing about what I think should be done. But honestly, if we're being real, we don't know what needs to be done. We don't. Um, I didn't write out a script or an outline for this video, so I know what I talk about. It might sound like nonsense, or I might repeat the same thing over and over, or just ramble about something unrelevant to the topic, or irrelevant to the topic. Words are difficult, but I think it's good that people are at least talking about the game, and people are discussing what needs to be done, even though Blizzard's not paying attention. The only time Blizzard listens is when people cry for 6 months about something in the game, and then they'll nerf it, and then we'll cry about the new thing. So, my final statement, I guess, would be I'd have huge content drops at least once a year that could drastically change the game. Because we all, like I already said, these minor changes, they make minor changes that result in big changes, but they're not big enough. We hate the game. I'm being real. Nobody likes the game anymore. You can go and find me one person that 100% agrees, I love playing Orisa, she is fun. No, no one's gonna say that. I played Orisa on a team. Incredibly boring. I main tank. So boring. No one says, oh, I like playing Moira. No. You might enjoy her every now and then if you don't play her frequently, but it's not something you want to play for 6 months. It's just not. One more thing I want to talk about is just the imbalance in the game. I know I've kind of already spoken about this for this entire time, but there are some heroes in the game that need to be changed, need to be nerfed, and from this point forward is strictly opinion based. You could disagree, you could agree, I don't really care, but in my opinion, right? This entire segment is, in my opinion, these heroes need to be changed. Starting with Moira. This is going to be a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Anyway, Moira. Dear God, Blizzard, change her. Her range is my biggest problem. You're giving me a healer that can shoot me from across an objective that doesn't even have to aim to kill me. She just looks at me, holds right click for a couple seconds, and I'm dead. Or uses her ultimate and just stares at me. How is that balanced in any way? They need to change Moira. They need to nerf Moira. Nerf her range. Dear God, please. It's ridiculous. That's just a personal thing that I wanted to get out. But if you disagree with me, whatever. Opinions are opinions. You're allowed to have them. But I should probably end this. This is probably going to be a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. A lot longer than I wanted it to be. So, if you made it to here, I guess thank you for watching my rambling for however long this was. I don't know how long this was. Just Overwatch, Blizzard, please change.